Greetings to everyone. My name is Dr. Badri Gopalakrishnan. I'm delighted to hear that Dr. Sridhar has organized I think third consecutive monthly web conference on very enlightening areas with many well-known keynote speakers and also researchers and students from across the world. I wish the conference all the success, and like the previous 3 web conferences, I'm sure this also will be very informative and very useful for the participants and also the audience, since this is a free web conference which is going to be available on YouTube for forever. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for everyone to learn from the participants. Given the current lockdown situation because of coronavirus pandemic, this is a good way for all of us to spend the time productively, and it also gives us a mirror to the future as to how conferences may be organized very effectively, efficiently, and with a global coverage and with a permanent presence in the web, and I think this is in a way both space and time travel in one sense that happens through the this web conference, because anyone can refer to the conference recordings many years from now, and also anywhere from anywhere in the world. If we had a physical conference, the biggest trouble is that everyone has to travel to the particular location. All the presenters have to be there, all the audience have to be there, and obviously there are going to be conference proceedings and special journal issues on the conference, but nothing can equal the ability for the audience and readers to listen to the speakers, listen to the participants, listen to the authors of the papers in video and audio format. So I think this is a great way to conduct conferences in the future, and Professor Sridhar has pioneered this with his company Sbyte Technologies. I'm also very grateful to him for giving me an opportunity to deliver this kind of keynote address or special lecture for all of these web conferences, and I wish many successes in these and many more conferences to come in the future. So with this greetings, I would also like to say a few words about some of the themes of the conference. The first one is the future of education. That's some kind of change the way things are. The delivery of study material to the students from the teachers happen. And it's not only a matter of teaching, it's also a matter of examination, grading, and so on. For many years, both in the West, in countries like the US and EU and other countries, as well as some parts of India, remote teaching has been there. Of course, open university system has been very popular in India for many decades, where people study by correspondence and so on, For example, Indira Gandhi National Open University is very, very, very famous. And similarly, in the US, there are universities like University of Phoenix and many other universities which are completely online. So that this thing has been there for a while, and one difficulty or one kind of point of concern towards correspondence courses or open university courses or online university courses was that the credibility of acquiring the skill and acquiring the experience, the exposure that you get in classroom teaching is missing in all these remote teaching systems. And I think this situation has been changing over time, even before the current pandemic. You may ask how and why is it changing? I would say that the advent of very new digital technologies, like ability to conduct like a mass open course where all the participants can mingle online, and all the students can discuss together. There can be discussion forums. There can be video conference teaching sessions, and even the professors can come up with innovative teaching materials that the students can learn online, and also some new teaching softwares like Vista, Blackboard Vista was one of the early softwares, and there have been many other softwares that have come over time, and I think all these teaching specialized softwares also have been helping this transition over time. And virtual reality may be the future part of education revolution, wherein you may actually feel the presence of professors and co-researchers, scholars, students, and so on, who you have a notion of physical presence, and that might give greater kind of virtual reality kind of experience where you can see people sitting next to each other and interacting and so on. I think that interaction and learning from each other, exchanging thoughts, those are the things that are missing in remote education. But I think even now, even before all these technologies, it was possible if the students had the initiative. If the students had the initiative, they can always, even without the internet, they could have called up each other and discussed for hours about various topics. That was one possibility, but of course that is not, that doesn't happen usually if you leave it to the students. But in the upcoming and current, some of the current technologies, it's probably the professors can mention that students have to sit together in a group and exchange ideas and learn, and that can be facilitated through the software. In fact, I myself, for some of my courses, I've tried this kind of a methodology where I make the students sit in groups, particularly in groups where I don't see a lot of interaction happening otherwise, because while teaching I can observe that some students talk to each other a lot and some students don't talk to each other. So I intentionally try to mix and match and ensure that the students who do not interact much with each other have to work together in a group. And the offline time is very little because students have so many classes and usually they don't have a lot of overlap. This would be the only class where they would sit together physically. So they will have to, do a lot of online virtual communication and interaction. So I think that was possible. Even, I'm talking about maybe 1 year ago or a few months ago, long before all these things happened. So I think that turned out to be pretty successful because those students really learned from each other. I think also, they were able to become friends and so on the other side. But this is a good way of making use of the technology. So we can actually make sure that we not only learn from each other, from the professors, but also interact a lot among ourselves, and it's not only learning from each other, but one person may know something more than the other person, and there is always a transfer of knowledge that can happen. But the additional thing that I'm really interested in is just cross fertilization of ideas, because two people may actually know the same things, but they may come with different perspectives, and when they sit together they can get very new different types of insights. They can question each other and get some different insights, and I think all these kind of interactions should be encouraged both by the professors and voluntarily by the students. So I think this is going to be really useful in the future of education, particularly if you take liberal arts and social sciences. There is no one correct answer. So it needs a lot of debate, a lot of discussion, a lot of deliberation, a lot of qualification of answers. So all these things are needed. So they have to sit together and discuss. And even for more objective subjects like sciences and engineering, this kind of discussions may help, because same physical concept can have different interpretation based on the kind of background you come from. A chemist may look at it from a different perspective, a biologist can look at it from a different perspective, an engineer can take a different perspective. So these are aspects where even in sciences there can be cross fertilization of ideas. So with this thought, that collaboration among students and faculty in this age of remote education, even though it's hopefully not for a long time. Hopefully the lockdown comes to an end and we all start doing more physical interactions. Even otherwise, I think in this digital age, interactions are very, very important. Like even in the case of COVID, the World Health Organization changed the terminology. Earlier they said we should have social distancing. Then they changed it and said, no, we should not have social distancing. We should be socially close-knit, but we should have physical distancing. So when you have physical distancing, and then that should not be translated into social distancing. So you have to interact with each other a lot, communicate, use all the new technologies, all the new apps and so on, to stay in touch and exchange ideas, exchange thoughts, and also not only scientific and subject related ideas, but also in general talking to each other can go a long way to for learning, for maintaining sanity and good quality of thinking and intelligence and so on. So with that I conclude my my talk. Hope you get this message from my talk, that whether or not these new technologies are going to be used, to which my answer is they are going to be used. But even irrespective of that, I would recommend everyone to increase the interactions, online or virtual or physical interactions, so you help each other and exchange ideas. So thank you very much, and I again thank Professor Dr. Seshadri for inviting me to give this talk, and I wish the conference a grand success. Thank you very much again.
you.